Well, well, well. Guys, it has been an interesting weekend. So today's Sunday? No, today's Friday. No, frick. Today's Monday. Today is a Monday. Now, I'm just going to tell you the story without any fancy editing or anything because I really honestly just didn't take any pictures because I'm a scrub and I am not used to trying to chronicle my travels like that. If you have somebody who does like Twitter or something or Instagram or whatever, they'll be very common about just always pulling out their phone and taking a picture of whatever it is they do. And I kind of want to get like that, but I'm also just, I haven't functioned like that in a while. So I need to get back into it and used to it so I can use that as evidence and as part of my videos and stuff. But I took like 4 pictures and they were all terrible because they didn't actually involve the places I was at. So, notwithstanding, I'm still going to tell you the story because I know you're just rabidly curious about it. So, Friday, I finished all my classes. At about 6 o'clock, I headed out just right down the road to the freeway. And so I'm chilling at the freeway, and I dug into some old, like, compost bin and pulled out a Life cereal box and wrote "Going North" on it. And it was really bad sign, and I was like, well, okay. And 6 o'clock is just starting to get dark, so I was basically trying to hitchhike at night, which, for your information, is not a very smart thing, and I didn't really think about it. I was just like, why is nobody picking me up? And so nobody picked me up, and I was really upset, and I was going to walk back home, but then I was like, no, I'm going to be a man about this and be homeless. Yeah! And so I found a place to sleep out, like, next to a fence and I'm behind a Starbucks and out of the way of people so nobody would know where I am. And I bundled up and had a terrible night's sleep, mostly because I didn't prep for it. It's very common to actually set up camp before you camp, and I just didn't do that either. So those are my 2 stupid things I did so far. The next day I woke up, got in a Starbucks, got warm, and then asked the lady there for a cardboard box that I could make a better sign on. And I measured out the words and made it good looking. Actually, I have it right here. I wrote "Further North" on it, and so nice. Like, I feel like that did relatively well. And then I went out and stood out there at the freeway, and about a half hour in, this dude picks me up and he's like, hey man, I can take you up to the next exit. And I'm like, cool with me, let's do it. And so he takes me up to the next exit, and we just kind of chat a little bit. He tells me about what he's doing, and he's like going to school, and I was on his way there, and he just like picked me up, and so that was neat. So next exit, I'm like, okay, sweet, this is working out. I got 1 ride so far, awesome. Next exit, this guy picks me up about a half hour in on my waiting, and his name is Todd, super cool guy. He picks me up, and he's like, okay, and gets me in his car, and then we just start driving, and we just start chatting it up, and he's telling stories about his life, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, and we're just talking, and it was awesome. And he takes me up to about like 164th or so, I don't know, a couple miles, quite a few, like 5 exits maybe. He takes me up there to where this big old Walmart is, and I hop out, and I go out and I stand at this spot that's actually pretty good, but crap, man, it was rough. I stood there for like 5 hours. Like the first 2.5, I was like, man, this is like, I mean, I understand, but this sucks. And then I took a break and went to Taco Del Mar, got a burrito, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to shake it off. And I went back out and stood there for another like 2 hours or so. And then like, I'm just about to like throw myself on the ground and cry. Not really. I was actually just about to go set up camp. And then these people are like in the middle of the road, and it's a stop sign. They're like, you, come on. And I'm like, ugh. So I like have to go in between cars and like get inside of their car. And they had like 4 kids in there, and they had just been to church. And I was like, okay. And so like there's Hudson and Nora and Bailey and like Tatum or something, and John and Heather, and we're just chilling there in the car. They're just talking to me, and I'm talking to them, and we're just chatting up, and the kids are yelling and screaming, and I'm like, this is amazing. This married couple with their family just picked up this total stranger, And so they were super cool. They were actually amazing. They were camping at the time, and apparently they have a travel log or something, and I need to like check up on it so I can watch it or read it or whatever. And so they were going back to their camper, but then they were like, well, let's go to Sonic's, which is this really good restaurant, apparently. And it's up by Mount Vernon or something, past there. It's like in Bellingham or something. So they straight up drive me like to past Mount Vernon to this place called Fernsdale. And so I'm actually like super close to the border now. And it like I started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they picked me up and dropped me off at 6. So I get dropped off at a bus stop, and I'm straight up 15 miles away from Canada. And if I had been smart, I would have stood at the on-ramp to Canada with my sign and like been smart about it. But instead I tried to get like truckers to give me a ride, because I really want to get a ride from a trucker at some point, just because, like, you know, I think that'd be awesome. But apparently it's illegal for them to have other people in their vehicle unless they do paperwork for it or something. I don't know, I'm unsure. But notwithstanding, I tried to do that for a while, and then I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna go to Denny's, because Denny's is warm. And it was like, as I went further north, it got colder, and I knew that that was gonna happen. Like, I understood that that's how it works, and I get it, that like the world gets colder as you go up. But I thought that I was bundled up pretty well. Turns out I wasn't. I'm wearing, what I wore is like a bunch of like cotton stuff. Like, I wore a beater, a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt, and then a hoodie, and beneath I wore like my underwear, and then a swimsuit, and then these like motorcycle pants. So relative to where I am now, that was pretty well packed up. Relative to Canada, not really. So I'm super cold, and I go to Denny's because I'm just freezing, and I'm trying to figure out if I should try to put up camp or not, because the last time I tried to put up camp, it sucked because I didn't actually set up camp. So this time I was like, oh, well, I can either go out and spend like a half hour setting up camp in this freezing cold and do that, or I can just walk to Canada because it's 15 miles away. And so I go through a lot of indecision, which is bad. I wish I had been more decisive. And then I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to walk to Canada. So I start walking, and as soon as I get out of the Denny's, I meet this kid who's smoking outside of McDonald's, and we just start chatting, and we're talking, and then he's like, oh, no, yeah, come with me. I'll show you a place to, like, sleep or where to walk, because I'd said I might set up camp. And so he takes me through the town, and this kid's, like, total hoodlum, like, been arrested before and crap, and he's, like, 16 or something. I know his full name right now, but I'm not going to say it because, you know, public YouTube video, whatever. So we're hanging out, and he shows me he's, like, I could have stuck with this kid and, like, run around in the town for the next couple days, because he knew all the spots to be. He knew, like, he had a bunch of friends and, like, all this junk. And it was like, whoa, this is kind of okay. But on the negative side, could have probably been arrested or something, or been jumped, or gotten in some fights or something. I don't know. So he shows me this super niche spot where I could sleep, and he offers to show me to an abandoned building, and I really wanted to go, but I was like, it's not that I didn't want to, it's just the vibes weren't vibing pretty hard. So I was like, nah, I'll just go to sleep. Thanks, man. And I appreciated it, but then I changed my mind, and I just kept walking anyways. Oh yeah, and on my feet were flip-flops, because I was wearing flip-flops. So so I start walking, and there's this road that ran parallel to the freeway for like 10 miles or so, and I'm walking up to get there, and he had told me that some kids were partying at a bonfire or something, and so for me to be careful, because partying equals drinking equals drunk driving, and it's a small town anyways, so like they go hard, man. Small town syndrome is a thing. So I'm walking up this road, and it's like the first mile or two, it's like suburban setting, there's lights, there's sidewalks. So I'm like, this is a-okay, I'm fine with this. Then get to the not so fine part, where there's not tons of houses lining the sidewalk, and there is no sidewalk, and there are no lights. So now I'm in like this really dark environment, no sidewalks, so I'm walking on the road, and like trees everywhere, and it's like, okay, like I could get murdered, I could get hit by a car, and like nobody would know. And so anyways, I keep walking, then I see a car coming up, and he's coming up on the opposite side of the road that I am, and then I see him cross over the yellow line and start coming directly at me, and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, and I like jump out of the way, and this dude like swerves back into his lane, so I'm pretty sure he's trying to hit me. I don't know, whatever. So I keep walking, and I walk just for days, for like 2 hours or something, and I get to this gas station, and I just hole up, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm so cold. And it's like 1 o'clock, like at that time. And I think about putting up tent, setting up camp, but then there's like frost on the ground. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I don't know, I probably should have at some point. But so I keep walking, I start like running and stuff, and I'm not getting menaced by cars as much anymore, so that's nice. But so I run like and walk another 5 miles, get to another gas station, like warm up again, and then I do it the last time. And on the last one, I was like running and walking, and then a guy in a big old truck pulled up and was like I'm walking on the side of the road, this truck drives past me and starts to slow down, then it stops, and then it backs up, and so you're like, I mean, like, I'll fight you, I don't know what you're trying to do, but like, I'll get crazy. And this dude like rolls down his window, he's like, hey, it's getting cold out there, man, get in. And like, I feel it, bro. So I hop in, and he keeps driving down the road, and he only takes me like 2 miles or something, but really cool guy. He was like swearing every other word. That guy was so good. Like just total backcountry hick man, but he was a beast. I like him. He was cool. And so he lets me out of the car a little later, and then I keep walking, and I get to Blaine, and I thought it was going to be a bigger town, but it wasn't. It was just a bunch of like homes. And so like by this point, I'm freezing. It's straight up freaking cold. There's like frozen puddles on the ground, and I'm like and so I keep walking, and I get up, and I follow my GPS, and I finally get to the road where I could get into Canada. But since I didn't know where to go, once I'm in there, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. So I find the only place open, which is like an AM PM gas station, and I get in there, and I warm up, and I just start chatting with the gas lady. And I got there at about 4:30, so then I just straight up hung out there until like 6, and I was just thinking about it, and I realized like I don't have anyone to meet up with in Canada. Like I have nowhere to go, sort of, and I don't know the place at all. So my reasoning started to kick in, and I understand like adventure, just go for it, go crazy, but I didn't know. So I was posting on like some forums and subreddits and on Facebook in certain areas, and like to see if I could get someone to hang out with me to show me like how to do things. But I just realized like I was so cold, like so cold, that I don't know, stuff could have gone south pretty quick. And so I chat with the gas lady, and we're BFFs now, and then I went around to like Burger King to warm up and charge my phone and stuff. And then I just decided to try to go back home because like I was stuck up there sort of, and I didn't have anywhere to go. So I pick up my sign, I write Seattle on the other side, and so I'm straight up right at the border, and I just go out there and I stick out my thumb and like hold the sign and smile and wave. And I am just at the point where I'm like, I'm gonna die, this sucks, when this dude just pulls up, he like stops, he's like, Seattle? Like, yeah. And I get in, and then he drives me all the way to Seattle. This really cool guy, his name is Nish, he's from New Zealand, he's a beast, and he just drives me all the way to Seattle. And then halfway there, I text one of my friends, and they just happen to be in Seattle, and they're getting lunch, and they're like, hey, meet us for lunch. So I did. And then once I'm in Seattle, and I just finished having lunch with them, my brother comes by, and he's like, hey man, I'm about to pass Seattle, you need a ride home? And I'm like, yeah. So he gives me a ride home. And that was all yesterday, and I got home yesterday at like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 or something. So straight up, it took 1 day for me to get from Redmond to Canada. And then the next day, which I still was counting as the same day because I hadn't slept barely at all. Then the next day, like, I got all the way back and back to my house in like 6 hours or something. It was ridiculous. So while I did not go all the way to like in Canada specifically, I am gonna do that soon at some point, and I just want to have someone to meet up with in there so I have at least a semblance of security. But otherwise, I just want to hitchhiking, guys. Like, it was amazing, super cool. So this video is long. Crap, that's like 15 minutes. I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna stop now. But that was it. So yeah. Anyways, peace out.